can be astronomical.
I lost at least $4 million because of my addiction. Gambling almost destroyed my life. I am Daniel, and this is my story.
As the Christmas season draws nearer, I, on Dependency, speaks with two men in recovery for gambling addiction. Do you recognize their stories? Listen live on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the I on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. I on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
I on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the I on Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning, good Sunday morning to you. This is Natasha from I Am Dependency. We are live on I-95.5 FM. Good morning, Garth.
Morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to another educational edition of I Am Dependency. This program this morning with our two guests, we will be reaching out to those of you who have been suffering silently with your families. So in studio we have Mr. Addesh Maharaj, and we'll be joined by Daniel soon. Two gentlemen decide to share their past experiences with problem gambling. And for some of you who don't think you have a problem, after we hear them this morning, you will change your mind. And you will get that help from the helpline that we will provide for you all here today. We have lots to unpack. And just to break the ice, Natasha will introduce a testimony from someone outside of Trinidad and Tobago. Mm-hmm. And then when we return, we will start with Addesh, who's in studio with us right now. And we also have a video from Mr. Pollard. Mm-hmm. Kyron Pollard, that is. This is after we've finished with our guests. And it has to do with the NLCB and a campaign that they're about to start. And we are in full support of it, but we'll tell you more about that later on. As you know, the NLCB has shown great corporate responsibility by providing now a hotline for problem gamblers. You'll hear more about that too. And we've just been joined by Daniel. So gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Hold on. Good morning.
Good morning to all the listeners this morning.
Now, we have two very religious men in studio here with us. They're both supposed to be in church this morning.
Exactly.
Daniel being a pastor or practicing, he'll tell us how far is that. His father is a pastor. And just goes to show folks that problem or addictions can cross all barriers, regardless to where you're from, who you are. As I said, it's
who you believe in.
And who you believe in. It's best kept secret in Trinidad and Tobago. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the journey, even though the signs and symptoms is similar of a crack addict, but the journey is different, but it has the same ending. So let's go to Natasha.
Yes, we have a short clip of testimony from Mark Burke, who used to be an attorney at law, and he tells about his story of gambling addiction, how it started, and what he's doing now. It's very interesting because, again, it's one of these stereotypes that we feel that persons who are, intellectually, have intellectual capacity, they work very good jobs, they make money, how they can fall into this trap of addiction through gambling. And casino gambling in particular, he's going to talk about, and I think both of our guests have been subject to that vice, as we say. But it's not just a vice. It can be for many people, although it's supposed to be a pleasurable, fun activity. For some people, it becomes compulsive. So we're going to hear from Mike Burke about his journey, and when we come back from the break, we'll start with Daniel and Addesh.
This Sunday on episode 48 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Some chronic gamblers think they have nothing in common with crack cocaine users, but they all suffer from the same disease.
The same higher desire spoken is the same higher go after and gambling and breaking a car or picking at a number, dropping out of a machine.
I am Addesh Maharaj, and this is my story.
And like all people with addiction disorders, the losses can be astronomical.
I lost at least $4 million because of my addiction. Gambling almost destroyed my life. I am Daniel, and this is my story.
As the Christmas season draws nearer, Eye on Dependency speaks with two men in recovery for gambling addiction.
I'm a compulsive gambler. The foundation of every addiction is built upon lies. I learned how to count cards. I had to learn how to count cards with 2 and 4 decks of cards. There were no...
Some of us like to play.
So, and Shortman is feverishly upside, trying to... Yes, Shortman is feverishly upside, trying to figure out what's happening here. And Storm Tom is trying his best to bring everything to a head. So as I said this morning, we're going to be touching on this very important issue of problem gambling. And whilst gambling can be an enjoyable activity in moderation, some people can find it hard to control their gambling behavior. When gambling begins to take over a person's life and negatively affect their ability to function on a daily basis, they may begin to notice that they are experiencing a range of negative symptoms that are indicative of harmful gambling addiction. Now, gambling addiction, also known as problem gambling, compulsive gambling, or pathological gambling.
This Sunday on episode 48 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
Some chronic gamblers.
An individual who is under the influence of alcohol or drugs is likely to have poor impulse control, and as a result is more likely to continue to engage in destructive gambling behaviors despite the damage that this causes. As well as there being a range of symptoms that are associated with gambling addiction. This condition can also cause a wide array of negative long-term problems, including financial difficulties and relationship breakdowns. So if you're struggling with gambling addiction, or you have a family member who is, this program is for you this morning. It's something that we've touched on a while now, and we bring it to the fore because, in addition, Daniel will tell us Christmas is approaching us. And there are a number of people getting bonuses and the like. And, you know, it's either to repay gambling debts or to invest it in gambling because they're looking to make that extra dollar. So
I think we have to stall a little bit longer until we could assure ourselves that that we have the sound coming through the airwaves. Shortman says he's on his way.
All right, so let's start with Addesh. Addesh.
Yep.
So, Addesh, good morning, my brother, and thank you very much for joining us this morning to tell us about your journey. Can you just give our audience a brief history about you, born, grew up, and when was your first foray into gambling?
Well, good morning again to everyone listening. And My name is Addesh Maharaj. I'm 52 years of age, married, have one daughter. She's also married. I've been struggling with gambling for most of my life. From the age of 13 to 14 years, I started playing normal cards with my cousins in a house, gambling with Romy and so forth. And as I grew older, it intensified to play, the way as we locally known it, and then it went on to playing playway, and then it escalated to the highest point in casino gambling. Putting all together, I was compulsive. It was not recreational in any way.
Now, before you go on, what prompted you? Was it that good for you? Were you successful?
Yes, from the beginning, it was all well because you used to win.
Right.
And it became something that you used to look forward for. You going to school, having extra money, looking forward to go with older people.
So at the age of 14, who encouraged you in gambling?
Well, it's an old man. His name was Mano Bodram from Aldana Street, Princestown. The deceased, but the influence of the older people at that point in my life, was very influential. And we used to go there as young. I and my cousin, same age, a few months apart, and we used to play Romy with big guys, older men. And we used to enjoy it because you used to win. Most of the time you used to win because you're young, but as you grow older, you realize that this thing it come like an infestation in your blood system. If you can't do without it because you're going to school and you're thinking about Saturday because Saturday is a day off. You can't go during school time.
Right.
So Saturday I used to go over my cousins and stay over. They didn't live far. And we used to go across road and spend the entire day over there. They would cook and we would eat and we playing Romy right through.
And you playing Romy for money. How much money would you?
Well, those days was like $5
$5.
and you play beat and $5. But we had money because I came from a family of business.
Right.
Very wealthy people, so we used to get our allowances and things. And all the uncles had money, so they used to pass across, give me 20, they'll give it.
Right.
My father had 2 brothers and they were in a family business, a group business, and they had a lot of outlets in Princestown.
Now, what you just explained there is a sort of gateway process, eh?
Yeah, and it started from that, and after all in life, I realized that where it started from. It didn't start from Bob Romy, as people know. We started because big people.
Right.
So it was no Bob Romy. I think there was $5. It was retired firemen used to come and pay retired policemen. It was a house, and his man, he was a retired bus driver, and he had a lot of friends. And so I started to smoke also because the smoking there and everything out there for the grabs, and you grab it, and that took me into deep gambling as I went on in life.
And how did it progress? Tell us. You mentioned it went from
after
cards
I go
to
to school. From school, it went well. I had my license. I was driving before the age that you're supposed to have a license because the family had plenty of vehicles. So we used to drive and go. We started to go this thing called cockfight. Also, so every single avenue to gamble was available to me.
Right.
And I grasped on it, and it elevated from Romy. After I left school, we started to play way. So we just sit down. We all work in the family business after school on time. We just sit down making up lists all day. And punter, they call and they come and taking up your list.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is, when I retracted back, it was a high I was looking for, because wherever our business was situated was in the main street in Princestown, and the way we put is to be off of Princestown. But those guys didn't have to. Some of them had bicycles, some of them must be walking. So when you play and you know that Mark playing a certain hour in the pit, right? Then you know if you're winning 15 minutes and you peep around the corner to see that person coming, because you know when you win, the speed he coming to pay. You understand? So you're looking for that, and then it was in the card now. You're looking for a high. When you go to play cards, the breaking card, you learn to break cards and things. So that
and when you lose,
takes me over.
When you lose, what is the feeling like when you lose, though?
Well, anybody who gamble, they losing. They say you're going feeling as a king, and you come out feeling as a pauper. You understand? That feeling is not right. When you're going with a king, or your chest pumped up, your spirits are high.
In a zone.
Yeah, but when you lose, you're not in that more. You slouch. You start the thinking game. What I should have done, what I should not have done. But time have gone already. Yeah, so going back to the
No, before you when you lose, did it feel like a crash and you had this drive to go back and try again? Did it feel like that?
Yes. But for me, or for other people are taken away, it would have been different because I had access to finances.
Right.
When you come out of a family with money and friends and gambling, you desire, over the number of years, you acquire a certain amount of skills that when you're done, like when I was in rehab, I spoke to people that was addicted, that your brain started different. You're in a different mindset when you lose. You would stay in that zone for a few minutes, but after that you go in a different mindset. In order, which is your plan to get back more money to play, or you're going to get money to go and use again.
Right. Just like the crack addict, I felt the same way too. After it was done and the crash came and did depressed for a while, and then an idea would come to my head. You already have some money upstairs hiding under the bed. You don't know why, and I go and take that, and without any remorse because I need to get back that feeling again.
Yeah,
so
the same with gambling, because as I go deeper into my testimony / experiences, that it escalated until in the family business, I started steal under the counter because they want money to go and gamble. And from there I got married. When I was 29 years old. And when I got married, my wife didn't know I was already an addictive gambler. But I had access to money, and then I was working. I left the family business. They threw me out because I was dishonest.
So they caught you eventually?
Yes, because it will show up. There's nothing you can hide as long as you're in addiction. It is hide far. You can hide it under the mat for a little while, but it does show up.
Correct.
Because gambling, the extent I was in, is not a little bit of money. So you have to actually pilfer money out of the businesses. I will steal material and sell. It's not something I'm proud of, but that was in my addictive state. And eventually they caught up with me, and they actually threw me out of the business. I was on the streets because of my gambling.
You on the streets?
Yeah, well, actually, you could say on the streets, but I used to live with my grandfather. He was a very wealthy man. I was an heir to the business, and I lost that. Because there was very influential people in Princeton.
Right.
And I lost that opportunity because of my gambling. Gambling is in other words, is a liar. It's a thief, because you do these things to get money.
And the family, did they try to find out what was happening with you?
No,
did they ask?
At that point in time, they just counted me as a dishonest person. But I was hiding it under the carpet. So
and you didn't tell them?
I didn't tell them.
And nobody asked either?
Nobody asked after. So I went down as a dishonest person in the business. And I went with that because at that point in time, I wasn't willing to expose my addiction.
What made you had a problem?
Yeah, well, I knew I had a problem, but sometimes you know a problem. Yeah,
but admit to them,
No.
Yeah.
I knew